These are the 7 best jobs that I believe exist for the enlisted folks. I did 13 years in the Marine Corps. 3 of that, I was a recruiter, meaning I had to learn about as many jobs as humanly possible and how to talk about them. And then I discovered financial freedom and found my way into never having to work again and being a millionaire while serving. So I know a thing or two about setting yourself up for success in the military, out of the military. I was 13 years, exited as the gunnery sergeant of Marines, and I'm here to talk you through this. The very first job for enlisted folks is cyber world. And when I say cyber world, I mean like cyber operations, cyber security. Like, cyber has become a massive buzzword thing in the tech space, in the corporate world, in the military, in all of these different things. Cyber is booming. And cyber, when I say cyber, I mean, we're talking like hacking. We're talking counters to hacks. We're talking cyber intelligence. We're talking all kinds of fun, interesting tech things that are way outside of my realm of expertise. We're also talking about these people who are going to be digging into the AI space as it grows. And in case you've been living under a rock, artificial intelligence, AI, is exploding. ChatGPT was like the fastest growth to 1 million users like ever. It was like days. So just know that the cyber world is here to stay. It's growing. And 3-letter agencies or corporations or whoever are really seeking people who did this in the military for a couple of reasons. One, if you do it in the military, you're going to have security clearances, which are really hard to get and expensive for those companies. So you save them money in the hiring process. 2, you're going to have experience in it in a way that somebody who studied it in college will not, because A, you're hands-on. B, in college, you don't get to do you might learn about hacking, but in the military, you might actually get to do hacking. And so in college, you might learn about helping secure data, but in the military, you might actually be fighting off foreign nations who are trying to attack your data, right? So pretty real world experience, pretty cool stuff. The second enlisted job is really just the healthcare field, right? So this could be you're a nurse, you're a tech, an x-ray tech, or whatever. These are more specific to the Army, Air Force, Navy. The Marine Corps, we utilize the Navy's corpsmen, they're nurses, they're docs, more than we don't have our own. These are great fields, especially x-ray techs, or you get some of those advanced schools where you're actually getting to learn a very specific trade. They can get you a very specific job that involves a lot of training in the civilian sector. If you can get paid and trained to do that for free while in the military, then that's just one less thing you have to worry about afterwards. Plus, you have years of practice doing it, both in normal situations and potentially in a combat situation, which is a little more stressful, a more stressful environment. And so when it comes to let's say you're going to go be a trauma nurse or a shark trauma or an ER nurse or an ICU nurse or something like that, having that military experience where you've been tested in really stressful situations is a good buffer for those higher paying occupations. Now, I'm not going to try to articulate too much about the nursing field or the medical field because let's face it, my experience is from being on the other end of a needle or an x-ray machine. So I'll just dig into the fact that there's always going to be a need for medical services. And if you can get that stuff paid for and not have student debt and then go get the job because you have experience, that's a huge win. Number 3 is the intelligence field. Now, this could be an intelligence analyst. This could be a cryptologist, a map guy. This could be straight up counterintelligence. And this could be PSYOPs, which is psychological operations. There's a lot that goes into the intel field. Some of the entry-level intel fields are more administrative and research and homework and whatever. And some of the more advanced fields get to where you're growing a freaking beard and infiltrating another country. I'll never forget, we were in Afghanistan and we picked this dude up for a convoy and he was in Army uniform with a full beard and he looked like an interpreter. Outside, had he not been in the uniform, had he been in plain clothes, I would have assumed that he was a local Afghanistan national, right? And he gets in and no rank on, I'm like, who is this guy? And he's just hi, I'm Jeff. And I'm like, what the hell does this guy do? And so he was in PSYOPs, he was psychological operations. And he was literally living in the local town outside the FOB that we were on and helping build a school. And he was basically an Afghanistan national. And then he was also in the Army. And so they do some really cool, unique stuff. The counter intel world is the same. You would never know that those dudes are military if they don't want you to. And it's pretty cool. And fun fact, the reason that most of them have beards, aside from like in Afghanistan, you gotta have one to like blend in, is because they'll say they get caught or like made. It's way easier to shave your beard to change your identity than it is to like have no beard and then have to grow it, right? So that's a huge reason that a lot of these guys have beards even in uniform. Random fact. But the intel world, great job while you're in, has a lot of really cool things that you can do, whether you're with a special forces unit or not, but also just, it's cool. But then on the flip side of that, it also is a great way to get into three-letter agencies and other phenomenal job skills, CIA, FBI, embassy, Secretary of State, whatever, right? Lots of options. Number 4, I'm gonna go with logistics specialist. Now, there's a lot of different worlds for this. So I was a motor T guy. I drove trucks in the military. That's logistics. There's the mechanic side. That's logistics. There's also the like embark guys who load and offload ships and load and offload planes and load and offload trains and load and offload trucks and prep large scale movements. Those guys have, first off, they get promoted faster than anybody, at least in the Marine Corps. And they also have the ability to go work really well paying jobs and career fields at other locations. So like, some of those guys work in massive shipyards. Some of them work on barges and freighters, and some of them work in airports. And like, they get really cool jobs that are really well paying. And that's why they promote so fast, because the Marine Corps tries to retain them because they know they can go get other jobs. So lots of cool stuff in the logistics world. It also translates, I say truck driver and you're like, but like a lot of those guys own trucking companies and do very well. In fact, here in Springfield, Missouri is a company named Prime, which is, to my knowledge, the largest privately owned trucking company in like the world, at least the country. And the dude who owns it's a billionaire. His house is crazy. Like it's ridiculous. And you would think like, trucking, really? Yeah, really. Like you're paying to move things. So good options. Logistics, even outside of the transportation side, like logistics when it comes to like supply chain management, supplies, storage facilities, managing warehouses, all of that, such a great way to set up yourself for success in the future. Number 5, I put public affairs officer. Really, it's just public affairs specialist or public affairs, or I don't even know what they call it. It used to be combat camera in the military or in the Marine Corps, and then they changed it to like combat strategy or cameras, whatever, communication strategy. It's changed names, but essentially this is the field for journalists, reporters, videographers, photographers, and like the people who make press releases for the military. And this is a cool job because A, you can learn how to work with cameras and film videos, photos, blogging, social media, all of that stuff. But B, you can also learn how to be like a journalist and be interrogatory, meaning like ask questions, not interrogate. Or you can really take this skill set and learn how to be somebody who's like a newscaster or what have you. And the reason I put this one in here and put it higher on the list is because I believe, as you can probably tell because you're watching this damn video, in the future of social media, influencers, and really intellectual property. I think that the online world is going to continue to explode. I mean, we're only like 20 years into YouTube. Not even, I think we're like 15 years into YouTube. And look, it's the place everyone goes for everything. Imagine 15 years from now. Like, it's gonna be obscene. And so I think that there's going to be a ton of growth long-term in that field. And if you know how to wield a camera, do social media, like there are so many well-paying jobs that come from copywriting, like knowing how to write emails, titles, headlines, thumbnails, photos, videos, editing skills, running ads, which I don't actually know if public affairs does, but like if you do everything else, you can figure that part out, because paying for ads through Facebook is not as hard as the what you say in the video and what the text below the video says and all of that, calls to action and stuff. And so I think that it's a great job while you're in. It's a great job if you want to get into like the news industry or whatever, but it's also a great freaking job if you want to just build a platform or help other people build a platform, because that business is booming, I promise. Number 6, this says human resources, but it's really the entire like admin field. So there's nowhere you're gonna go where like being HR or admin or having those kinds of skill sets is not going to benefit you. Every corporate job has those people. Every job in general has those people. You could even get a job working that kind of stuff for like an SEC attorney and being like a paralegal probably, where you're filing all their paperwork and like I can tell you this, I know a lot of really successful entrepreneurs. Every single one of them has an assistant or an admin person to help them out, or both, and they pay very well for a quality person, and so do Fortune 500 companies. So there's a lot of room for that. Just imagine Donna in Suits, if you're a Suits person, Harvey Specter's assistant, right? Like, she made bank. Now, I'm not saying that you're gonna be Donna, but like a lot of opportunities. And number 7, we're gonna just go with the aviation field. And honestly, this could be a lot higher. These are not in any order of importance, right? So that's why I put it at the bottom, just to show you like, not in an order. This could be anything from like aircraft mechanic and maintenance or electrician. Or this could be like air traffic control, the guy sitting in the tower telling you, do not take off, do take off, wait, come back, you forgot your hat, whatever. This is anything in the aviation field. Honestly, like I wasn't in the aviation field, but like any of those supporting roles are crucial for major airline companies, running an airport, logistics side. You know, there's so many ways that you can go from the aviation world, and let's face it, air travel's not slowing down anytime soon, and so those jobs are here and they pay well. All right, so moving into the officer side, I got just 3 listed here. There are so many different opportunities out there, but I got 3 that I think are probably like the most readily available to set you up for success. The first one is the medical industry. We talked about like nursing and everything else. This is doctors, this is surgeons, this is, you know, the officers, this is psychologists, this is psychiatrists, this is, you know, all of the therapists, this is all those people. Anything in the medical field, you know, pediatricians, whatever that they have, this is the officer side of that. It's a great field for a couple of reasons. One, you get your medical, your residency, all your stuff paid for. You're getting paid while you're getting that experience instead of like working like a dog in residency and getting paid peanuts. You're getting a military salary, which is better. And also, there's the comfort of knowing that you don't have to worry about malpractice suits your first year or 2. Now, there are pros and cons to this, and I'm not saying like from a TRICARE standpoint, people hate this, but the reality is this: if you're a brand new at any job, there's a chance you're gonna mess stuff up until you get more proficient at it. In the medical world, if you mess something up, you get a malpractice suit and your career could be done. In the military, if you mess something up, you're probably still going to maintain your career. You're not going to get a malpractice suit. You'll have a little bit of a buffer there in a comfort zone. Now, again, I am by no means advocating that you go into the medical field, mess something up, and fuck with somebody's life, and it's like, oh, well, thank God I don't have malpractice issues. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is you can learn the skill with job security, and you're getting paid even while you're in the crappy residency period where most people get paid like dogs. So there's a perk there. Now, on the outside of that, you come out of the military, you've got tons of experience, and you're good for a normal medical job. You're gonna do fine. You're gonna get hired. You've got the experience when you're going to look for these places, especially if you end up in like a combat scenario where you're like a combat surgeon or whatever, and you're like a flight surgeon, like running around saving lives in like a medical, you know, like a helicopter. Like, then you come in and you've got like a routine scheduled surgery with a normal office hours and like a perfect environment. You're gonna crush it, and people love to hire those that have been tested in stressful environments. So medical field, easy W for all officers. I bet you can guess the job I'll say next. Pilots. And this could be any pilots. This could be, hey, I fly an F-16, F-22, F-35 fighter jet. This could be, I fly a UH-60, a Cobra, a Zulu, Cobra, a friggin' Osprey, helicopters. That's the word for all of those, or fighter jets, or bombers, or just normal cargo transport C-5, C-7, C-130 planes, or Intel planes, analyst planes. The sky's the limit. There are so many different kinds of airplanes and helicopters and aircraft, even drone side, that you can fly in the military. And on the officer side, being a pilot, whether helicopter or plane or whatever, translates to really good career opportunities. The number of people I know who got out of the military and work for an actual airlines making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, astounding. The number of people I know who got out of the military and fly private jets for very wealthy people, also astounding. I have a friend, I'll tag him on this video, see if we can get him to do some comments on here. His name's Curtis, and he has a social media platform, and he wasn't a service member, so I'm not saying like that, but he went the pilot route, and he flies billionaires around. Like, he can't name drop who he flies because he's got NDAs with everyone, and they're loaded. And he's always like, he'll be like, oh, I'm in Fuji today. No, I'm in Italy. No, I'm in Greece. No, I'm in whatever. And he gets paid to fly them there, and he gets paid while they're there, while he's not doing anything, and then he gets paid to fly them back. And he makes really good money. I'm not gonna divulge all that, but look, you can do that coming out of the military. In fact, it's funny, there was a video during F1 in Vegas last year where there was a pilot who came in on a private jet, and like everyone's, landing, whatever. And then there was like one pilot where the runway is like this, and he comes in and he like does a sliding touchdown. And I'm sure that his, billionaire person was probably not on the plane when that happened. Maybe the guy just likes to live on the edge like I would. But the joke, like all the comments were like, tell me he was a carrier pilot without telling me he was a carrier pilot. Like, the dude made a landing that was killer, and everyone who saw the video was like, that dude used to fly for the Navy, because you don't learn that. I mean, you might learn, but most people don't have the balls to do those kinds of crazy landings unless they've been tested in pretty stressful situations again. So like, if you've ever tried landing on an aircraft carrier, which I haven't, holy smokes, you got the boats doing all the things, and you're coming in, and there's all the wind and all the other stuff, and you're trying to put it all together, and then you have to come in at full speed and hook. There's a hook on a cable for brake. The reason you come in at full speed is because if you miss, you have to be able to take off again and come back around. And so if you don't come in at full speed, and you actually slow down like you were trying to land on the aircraft carrier, and you miss, you just fall in the ocean. Not good. So anyway, military pilots make phenomenal commercial private pilots. They do. Make test pilots, they make all the things. So like, that's a fucking great job. I know so many pilots who are successful in the civilian world. So I'm gonna shut up about that one, but that's a good one. Third one for the officer side is JAG, which is, everyone's, maybe you've seen the TV show or whatever, but JAG, like legal side. And there are so many other things that I could have put as number 3 here, but the reason I went with JAG is because the lawyer legal side of the world is a really solid career field. And again, you're getting to learn all these things while in the service, getting paid for it, and you can get, the bar and everything, and then come out and you're set for life. Rather than like, going to Harvard and being in hundreds of thousands of dollars of student debt, you can go to wherever and not be in debt, and then go in the military, get paid to learn it, and you have all the experience, and again, you're dealing with the same crap. So all the other benefits, plus, as all with all of these, you're getting your education paid for, you're getting paid to learn the skill, and you're getting the skill set. So those are what I think the best 3 for the officer side. That's medical, pilot, JAG, lawyer, legal. And then I promise you a bonus one, and this is such a cop-out, but any fucking job, enlisted or officer. Look, there's so many benefits to the job, but so many people get wrapped around what job they have to choose to be successful out of the military. And let me tell you from experience, while that can help you, the real benefit to you getting a job or starting a business or being successful outside of the military is just being in the military. It's getting the service, getting the track record, learning, like getting the discipline, the confidence, the purpose, your identity, like being a leader, being, poised, like when shit hits the fan, you can stay calm, you can make decisions, being a quick decision maker. All of these things, there's so many intangible benefits that I can go into that will carry you outside of the military, regardless of your job. Just the way you carry yourself, the confidence, the way you can communicate, articulate a valid point, the fast decision making, the leadership traits, like all of this stuff will set you up for success, especially if you lean into it. I'm telling you, job be damned. Because one of the things that I get on all this, like, there will be comments on this, and I'll be able to tell they didn't watch the whole video, that will say, infantry, blah, you have nothing after the military. I'll tell you a couple things. First off, having been a recruiter, nobody joins the infantry because they care about what it looks like after the military. They join the infantry because they want to have an adventure. They want to be in the infantry. They want the extremities. They want the travel. They want the adventure. They want the experience. They want the stories. They want to serve their country. They only join the infantry for intangibles, and they get intangibles. The people who were or are in the infantry side of the house get leadership. They're freaking studs. Or studettes, whatever you call a female stud, whatever. They get leadership. They are quick decision makers. They're action takers. They're go-getters. They're decisive. They're disciplined. They're courageous. They're all the things that will make them phenomenal entities in any workspace or business or entrepreneurial venture or whatever, what have you. So it doesn't fucking matter what job you get. Sure, if you want to be a doctor in the military. It'll set you up to be a doctor outside the military. But it doesn't. Another prime example is I have a buddy who did like 15 years on the enlisted side as a heavy equipment guy. He drove like trams and forklifts and whatever. And then he got tired of that and he went in the Navy as a medical officer, and now he's a medical officer. So like, he could have gotten out of the military and gone to be a doctor. He chose to do it in the Navy, but like, the point being, the guy did 15 years not in the medical world and then was accepted into a program to become a doctor because, you guessed it, not because he'd been to med school yet, but because of who he was and what he'd done and his intangibles. So, job be damned. If you join the military, the intangibles and who you are as a person will set you apart from everyone else. So you'll be fine. So that's my 7 enlisted, 3 officer, 1 bonus video on the best jobs in the military. I'd love to hear. Comment down below what you think I missed. What are your favorite jobs? What job you're in? Whatever questions you got. And also, hey, if you got something out of this video, please like, subscribe, notification bell, whatever. All the things I should normally say at the beginning of the video before people start getting bored and falling off. Have a great day.